Hey, this is Sigrid with Universal Pagan Temple, and I'm coming with another video addressing what is going on in America with the rise of Christian nationalism. Now, this is one topic that has resonated throughout the decades, which is the negative perspective of paganism, witchcraft, and Wicca within the Christian-dominated media. And there's multiple reasons, obviously, why this is an issue and also why this is happening. I wanted to address directly what happened last week with Israel buying out TikTok. And this is pretty important because with Israel buying out TikTok, that means that they are going to be promoting a lot of Christian voices, primarily Christian evangelicals, which for the most part are the Christian Zionists. I know there's other denominations of Christianity that are Christian Zionists as well, Baptists being a big one that I was raised around. With the Christian evangelicals, they've got a target on paganism in particular. If you don't believe me, please go watch my video about the book called Pagan Threat by Pastor Lucas Miles, and it was just released here in 2025. He is literally trying to start up another satanic panic with this book. So again, if you don't believe me, look at what the Christians are talking about right now. They're viewing paganism as a threat, and they're associating it with things that paganism isn't associated with. So yeah, and this entire video is going to be about the negative associations Christians apply to paganism that paganism has no part of. If you enjoyed my videos, please consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel, or if you really like it, and I would really appreciate it, a donation to our PayPal or becoming a Patreon member. The number one misconception that the Christian media throws at us throughout news, movies, TV is that paganism equals Satanism, whereas Satanism is a Christian Abrahamic concept, and paganism predates Christianity and Judaism, where Christianity originated from, by thousands of years. I mean, pagans will be here, we've been here before Christianity, and we'll be here long after the last Bible has dissolved into the ground. Now, there's a long history of why Christians associate paganism with Satan, because Satan's always been used as an out for Christians, as to use as an other, to say other people are possessed by Satan or influenced by Satan. How many times have I gotten the comment, or have you gotten the comment, that a Christian is saying, oh, you worship the devil, you worship satanic entities or, demonic entities, and you just can't see their horns. And they only see that their point is proven when they see gods of ours like Hathor or Cernunnos. A lot of these misconceptions are very old because, it dates back from the early days of Christianity, during forced conversions, to even now when missionaries go to third world countries, and encounter these people who have, these remote tribes that have either some sort of a shamanistic practice or other sort of pagan practice. They will point to their pagan deities and say, oh, those are demonic entities, you don't want to worship those. And, it destroys indigenous and native pagan spirituality, no matter where it's coming from. I mean, the Christians, they got their practice on Europeans, my ancestors. And if you hail from a European nation, and you're an American or Australian, or if you're even in Europe, the Christians got their practice on forced conversions on us first. Our ancestral gods are buried so far. We were lucky to have the information that we do, because either surviving texts or texts that were copied or taken from oral traditions and copied by monks, which I'm seeing a lot of people are starting to believe that these monks that preserve these pagan texts were actually secretly pagan themselves. And a lot of Christians out there, they get their ideas on what paganism is not only from their pastors, preachers, priests, and biblical texts, but they also get it from media, TV, movies, television, YouTube. They'll start watching these videos on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, what have you, going down these rabbit holes of supposed conspiracy theories that are just really formed out of thin air and just a lot of BS. But they perpetuate this negative idea of witchcraft, magic, and paganism, and it's very harmful, obviously, to the pagan community as a whole, because they're these uneducated opinions on what paganism is, and we don't have a large body of lawyers to kind of like combat some of these negative stereotypes of pagans and witches. Not yet. I would like to see it at some point, to kind of combat some of this. Maybe books like Pagan Threat wouldn't be, allowed on the market if we had such a base. And that's, years down the line, but I can be hopeful. But yeah, it's harmful, and that a lot of Christians assume through the media that we're devil worshippers, and not, because of all the information that they're being fed through the media. And even when a pagan or witch character is shown in a positive light, these Christian watchdogs will come out of the woodwork and saying, oh, you're trying to indoctrinate our children. No, you're just trying to tell a story here, I see a lot of Christians I keep on bringing up Conan the Barbarian, the one with Schwarzenegger, as a positive. And I see a lot of these Christ bros going around online. They seem to like that movie as a pagan character. Or they'll make the comparison to, Lord of the Rings is a Christian story, it's a Catholic story. No, that Lord of the Rings, Tolkien himself has, he said a lot of the folklore that influenced Lord of the Rings. I mean, Gandalf wouldn't have his name without the catalog of dwarves found in the Prose Edda. Or sorry, not the Prose Edda, the Poetic Edda. Yeah, as far as that goes, again, going back to those monks, such as Snorri Sturluson, that translated, or not translated, but he brought us the Poetic Edda because he wanted to preserve that form of poetry. And, maybe he was, very sympathetic to pagans. The Christian worldview, the negative worldview that they possess of paganism, of witchcraft, is really, their first form of globalism, which is Christianity. And, it sees anybody as an other, non-Christian or pre-Christian as being uncivilized, therefore pagan. And pagan, was used as a derogatory term in the past, country bumpkin, country dweller, and you see, it's kind of funny, you actually see a lot of pagans, they embrace this, and then Christians, they want to embrace this too. They want to be country dwellers themselves. But, you have to observe the cycles of the seasons, and that's pretty much a lot of what paganism is. There's one half worshiping the gods, offering to them, and then there's the other half of observing the cycles and the seasons and the stars. Examples in the media where paganism is shown in a negative light. There's usually divination tools, Ouija boards, seances, tarot cards are always shown to invite demons. And this isn't true. And a lot of Christians will always say, oh, and I've actually had a conversation recently where somebody was saying, oh, well, you know, every time somebody is saved by a demon, who saves them? Oh, it's a Catholic priest. Well, that's Catholicism, and that's, it's biased. This is Catholic propaganda, especially the Conjuring movies. They're entertaining, but yeah, there's a bit of Catholic propaganda in those movies. It's not, saying that only a Catholic priest can exorcise a demon is uneducated and silly, because anybody can cast out a demon with enough training and knowledge. Another thing that ticks me off is within Christian media or Christian influenced media. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Christian movie. No, just the Christian mindset of oh, this deity looks dark, so it must be evil, like Anubis, being portrayed as evil when he's just the god of associated with mummification and graveyards, and other deities. These misconceptions that Christians have about paganism, it really is harmful to us, and they make no effort to try to fix that. And their apologies are half-hearted, and it causes irrational fear towards pagans, that have never harmed anybody. They have never sacrificed anybody, and it just perpetuates this ignorance within American culture, and across the world. It really perpetuates this ignorance of what pagans are, what pagans do, what pagans believe. And I understand it makes for entertaining cinema, but a lot of these people have never, a lot of these Christians have never met a pagan, or they've only seen clips of pagans maybe on TikTok, and they're shown such a negative view, or they've been taught such a negative view that they got blinders on like a horse drawing a carriage. They can't see anything else in front of them because they got these blinders on. And because they have these blinders on, when they actually do meet a pagan, that they're absolutely convinced that this person is, immoral, and they have to be brought to justice. And there's been times when even my husband, when we had a pagan store, that people threatened to run him out of town just, for reading tarot cards. And this is shameful that this is going on, and we have no recourse for it because we don't have the institutions to take care of it, or that will view us as something to be taken care of. They don't take us seriously as a community. Not yet. We have some people that do the work, but for the most part, it is difficult to, hire an attorney that will take care of a pagan case, and fighting in the legal system against, these sorts of discrimination is very difficult for us. Not only time consuming, but legal fees. Those are expensive. What we can do is speak up when we see something that is just factually incorrect about paganism, and start to speak out more and more. I know it might seem like we're complaining, we're playing the victim, but no, it needs to happen. We need to speak up, because if we don't speak up, somebody that we know, or yourself, you could be the target of this discrimination based off of what a Christian has watched off of a movie or off of YouTube, because this really is, they're trying to start up another satanic panic, and I'm just not going to allow that to happen. That's why I'm making these videos. I'm not going to shut up about it. But anyway, if you watched to this point, thank you so much for watching. Leave a tip if you like the video, become a Patreon supporter, or always leave a comment. That really helps out with the algorithms. And until next time, blessed be.